a prize competition, which is the style that XPRIZE does, is really saying we want to start a new market. It's about going to where there's kind of a stuck problem that needs more capital and innovation, that we can set a prize right here, get a bunch of people focused on it, and then have some sort of breakthrough.
I mean, let's call a spade a spade. I mean, you truly are a badass. You know that, right?
Some days.
Most days. All right, let's just go over the tail of the tape, shall we? We're joined by Emily Musil, like music, Church. Emily Church. And it is. You're like church bells. It's true, because you weren't satisfied. I know that you're not going to like where I start this, by the way, but let me get through it. You weren't satisfied just being a teacher. You had to save the whole damn world. And you're on your mission. You should see her. She's nodding her head like, really, Ryan? This is where we're going to start? But you're a Ph.D., got your Ph.D. from UCLA, which I could see over your shoulder with some of your artwork. You won the Fulbright Hays Research Fellowship, then zipped across a dozen countries and almost half the continents just doing research just to try to make the world a little bit better. I mean, that's pretty cool.
That's also learning about, you can't really take action, I think, till you learn and you listen. So a lot of that is spending lots of time getting to know people and understand context and place.
And now,
key part of it.
And now you're in the DC area, we'll call it. I mean, well, you got to miss California. Let's start where you didn't want to start. Let's start exactly, because I'm in San Diego. I'm going to Universal Studios with my son tomorrow.
That sounds lovely.
Pretty excited. You're wearing a turtleneck. So how has what's it like to move, by the way, during the pandemic? Because you've now been 18 months at Milken Institute, and you moved basically in the middle of this thing, correct?
Yeah, beginning, middle, end. What really is time when the pandemic is happening? Sometime during it. Yeah, having spent the majority, although not all, of my adult life in California, Southern California, Los Angeles, it was a big move back east. But family's here, and the Milken Institute is rooted actually both in Santa Monica, California, and Washington, D.C. So professionally, that part is really easy. We have offices both coasts.
Here's the hardest question I'm going to ask you all day. Are you ready?
Yep. I'm ready.
Is it Milken Institute or the Milken Institute?
Oh, no, I got to get comms on the phone real fast. So it is Milken Institute, but when you refer to it, I say I work at the Milken Institute, but the logo is Milken Institute.
Yeah, on your LinkedIn it says Milken Institute, but I always call it the Milken Institute, and I'm thinking about my friends who go to the Ohio State University. Is it called Ohio State University or the Ohio State?
Now you really got my mind in a pretzel, because that's true. At XPRIZE, some people would say the XPRIZE, and we were very much like, no, it is XPRIZE. And now that I'm thinking about it, I do say, oh yeah. I say it's a Milken Institute conference.
Oh boy.
I'm going to say it's probably okay.
All right,
I'm just going to be pinged by comms a lot after this.
I know. Let's just pause the podcast. You get them on the phone. Let's see what they say.
Michelle, help me.
All right. So I don't know what the senior director, I mean, you're just a badass in strategic philanthropy at Milken Institute. But, and again, you've been doing this for a year and a half now. And you had some pretty big news yesterday. Are you able to share that here?
Oh, I am. Yes. So yesterday we had our global announcement of our 25 finalist teams who made it through a very rigorous process in our Milken-Motsepe Agritech Prize. So we have a partnership with the Motsepe Foundation based in Johannesburg, South Africa, for a series of prizes and programs that are, the idea there is to harness the power of technology to help accelerate the sustainable development goals. So different things that help the planet, whether that is, in this case, agriculture and smallholder farmers, whether it's clean drinking water, gender equality, access to education. So our first one is in agritech, and we had over 3,300 people signing up for the Milken-Motsepe Prize site. We have this big community there. We give out free resources to people. We did a call for people to run a 1-year field test. It has to be in any country in Africa, but it has to be in the African continent. We got hundreds of amazing, innovative agri-tech ideas. We had an expert panel of judges from a global panel of judges, and they determined the 25 teams that are now, they're getting seed funding. They have 1 year to go do their thing, do a field test, control group, really show that their innovation is going to bring economic value to smallholder farmers, that it's going to increase the amount of farm productivity or decrease the food that's lost using the power of technology.
All right, so I'm slightly naive here. I've done some homework, but I haven't done, I haven't written a term paper on this. When I think about your last life at XPRIZE, and then I think about what you're doing now, it seems very similar. Mm-hmm. Yeah, did you start? This is the naive part. Did you start this at Milken?
Everything is collective. But yes, I was asked to join the Milken Institute in order to design, build, and run this. And it's grown since then. So that was sometime in the pandemic in 2020. But we already had a long-standing partnership with the Motsepe Foundation. They are strong friends and supporters with the Milken Institute. So they do a number of things, and they were interested in doing a prize competition, similar to the way that XPRIZE does big global prize competitions, to try to really spur innovation, get breakthrough markets. And the Milken Institute called and said, we'd like you to do that here. And as you started it from the beginning, my background actually is in academia. I was a college professor for many years, close to a decade, focused on African history, human rights. And I made this leap to XPRIZE and started doing these technology prize competitions. Although the first one I started working on was in Tanzania and East Africa. So there was the tie there, which was about, doing work on the continent. And the thing that's really exciting about being at the Milken Institute is it's a think tank. So we do rigorous research, we do policy papers, we have convenings of just every leader you can think of who is, heads of state, regulators, all sorts of people who can open doors and make things happen. So what's exciting to me about running a prize competition at the Milken Institute is it's really grounded in research. We only do a prize when we think that is what is necessary. There's lots of other things. We also do grants, we do white papers, we're sort of like, what is the problem and how can we help move it along to solve it? And then we're going to introduce and connect people who can then take that further and actually scale or solve more broadly. So it's exciting to have a prize in that context.
I think we need a new name for a white paper. Don't you think at this point?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Again, we got to get comms on the phone.
That's two. Things happen in threes. I can't wait to hear. I don't even know what the third one's going to be, but I'm on the edge of my seat. Just can't wait. Don't you love where I'm steering this conversation? You're like, we're trying to save the world. And the one thing I took away was we need to rebrand white papers. Way to go, Ryan.
It's true, though. I'm with you on that.
All right. So I'm curious, let's go back to teacher life. I mean, you said you did it for a decade, and I've had the luxury of seeing you do your thing. And I think you spoke at Good is the New Cool. And I knew we met before then, but love what those guys are doing.
Yeah, me too.
And, you're an exceptional speaker. You could see the teacher in you, by the way, when you speak, but it's not in a belittling, pandering the students in the audience sort of way. It's a very thoughtful way you unveil information so the knowledge transfer happens. And do you love public? Do you like speaking? Is that part of your thing?
I love it, but what I love about it is the opportunity to connect with people so that they can go out and do things. So to me, the connection you're drawing between being in a classroom or being at a conference or being, on a podcast or whatever it might be, it's really about how do we as people find inspiration, do enough background research to know what we're talking about, connect to people, and then take action that's going to hopefully help people. But you need to have that kind of spark in the first place, and also have some sort of idea of what to do or where to go. Most people care about things, but we sit there and we're looking at our smartphone, you're scrolling through social media, and you don't really know what to do. So I think the more that we can connect with people and hear about opportunities and provide specific opportunities for people to go do their thing, humans are capable of phenomenal things.
So, but again, so did you feel like for you as a teacher, going from there to where you are now, and it's not to knock on that, on the last life, because you did it for a decade, but do you feel like the spark went away, or a spark got brighter for something else? Because going from the land of teacher to XPRIZE, right? It seems like a big leap, but a conscious one. I'm just curious.
Yeah, it does. I don't know. The spark didn't go away. And the thing is, teaching was one part of it. Being in academia, there is the teaching in the classroom, there's the research and, creating scholarship. And then there's service as part of a community at whatever college or university where you may be. So to me, it was always teaching and deep research and connecting interested people to see what they're going to do and help to bolster them, create projects that's really about their own vision. I mean, hopefully, if you're doing it well, a student at the end is excited by their own vision, their own putting things together, their own spark. And then being part of a community in a college campus, at least in my experience, there's so much going on in terms of trying to figure out how to be a good active citizen, how to connect with people, how to connect the learning you have to the life you're living. We see that a lot on college campuses. So in some ways it's a leap, but in other ways, it's just on a bigger global scale, the same thing. So going from, higher ed into what the work I was doing at XPRIZE, similarly, it was finding people who have big ideas, trying to figure out how to support them in their vision, get them to be able to bring it forth into the world, connect it to something else, and be an active citizen. So it's actually not as big of a leap, and the spark is definitely still there.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt the spark is there. I'm curious, I love deconstructing things, and I think about my love of courage, and I love talking to people like you because you had the curiosity to keep following the thread and seeing where it would take you. In this case, it took you 3,000 miles away from Los Angeles, which we're not going to talk about. We're not going to talk about because you believe so much in Milken and doing what you need to do over there. But if you had to rank, I'm trying to break down the process. There's this mad research component, right? That has to happen. The studying, yes. The listening, where exactly is the problem? And then this kernel of an idea or a research, maybe it's a fact. So the first component is the research component. And then the second component is the stage where you share what you've learned. Then the third is the actual stage, especially now, where you're inviting people to come in and solve a problem. And then we'll say the fourth is, oh my goodness, someone actually, they did the work. Okay, they had to do the work. And then the last is there was a problem that you wanted to halt or thwart or shrink, and someone actually did it. I think those are the 5 phases. I'm sure there's more. What am I missing?
A really big, important one after that is once you realize something is possible and something can be done better or more efficiently or something, it is then saying, how do we actually implement it in the world? So you can find something that works amazingly, but if people can't afford it, if it doesn't work for lots of different communities, if governments aren't going to approve it, if people can't, there's so many things. So that is actually a really important piece, I think, that there's equal, I shouldn't say, they're equally important. So one, the research piece, where a lot of people want to speed that up and just say, we know poverty is a problem, or climate change, or whatever the thing is that people want to solve. To break down what is the piece of the problem you want to solve within that, and make sure that you're talking to the people who are experiencing the problem that you're trying to solve. I mean, research means a lot of things, and that really takes time. Designing who you're going to try to reach out to, really makes a big difference. Measuring things and make sure you can show that it works, reaching out to people saying, we want your ideas, whomever you may be, finding out, does that thing work, showing and storytelling about it. And then, yes, out in the world, how do we make this a reality that something incredible happened? And now you, whomever you are, wherever you are, have access to it.
When you're in it, is it just like, I have to go to my job today and I've got these 7 things on my to-do list and my schedule says I have this meeting and that? Or can you actually step out and be like, you can sleep well at night because you're actually trying to make the world better? Like, where's the line between these two arenas?
I mean, it's both. In general, I feel very lucky to have I can't even say it's a career, but to spend my time doing things that I hope, at least in some small way, are providing opportunity and growth for people. That's very rewarding. I think at the end of the day, most of us want to feel like the things that we did had some positive impact. There are always trade-offs, and there are a lot of Zoom meetings and a lot of things on the to-do list. And so all that is real. But anything worth doing, there's a lot of small details that go into it. I mean, I can only imagine this podcast, how much work has to go in that people don't know behind the curtain. Nothing.
I just hit record and then post it, and that's it. And there's nothing else. And, for me, it's quite primal. Like, I have a 9-year-old son and I have a 6-year-old daughter. And, this is not the first time I've said this, but, I thought I was writing my book as like this devious business card. And then I go on the journey and meet all these amazing people. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I wrote the book because I needed the book. Like, I wasn't living up to my own expectation of what I wanted. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, but I acknowledge that. And now it's like, oh, this is amazing. Like, although I can never tell my kids, like, read the book and follow the book, because obviously they would do the opposite of that.
Of course.
Right. I would want them to go live an adventure. I would want them to go see stuff and report back, like, go live a courageous life. And like, we only have one of these things. So for me, it always comes back to, I can't tell them that, but I want to show them what that means and go talk to interesting people like you who are just trying to save the planet. And by the way, like, the power of access today is unbelievable. Like the access to talent, access to the world. I mean, do you feel like, I feel like the world is really, really big and really, really small all at the same time right now. Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty big and pretty interconnected when I think of it. And also, I don't think I am saving the world. What I think I am hopefully doing is providing opportunity for lots of people collectively to save the world, or at least move things forward. And that's actually even more rewarding, because it's not really, I mean, I just see it as sort of a platform for people, and I can design all these things and create something and make these connections and have, talk to people who have excess resources and connect it to people who are looking for resources and opportunity, and say what needs to happen. And that's actually a really exciting part, because it's not like, you put on your cape and you go flying out and, stop a speeding train or whatever it may be. It is really about how many people who are all over the world, who are immensely talented, can we reach to allow their voices and their ideas to make a change either in their community, wherever they may be, or more broadly, globally, because the amount of talent that is democratically distributed across this planet that we just don't get. I mean, yes, access is incredible right now, and increasingly so, but yet there are still voices and people with so much to give and amazing ideas. All they really, really need is access to resources and connections to make their ideas fly. All they need is to know about this place of a playground where all these I mean, this is the third for comms. I'm going to get you a t-shirt that says, I'm a superhero, right? I mean, because you are, you you are providing the place where people can come together and tinker and work on this. And I guess good news or bad news, right? Like the dangled carrot is money, right? Like
Yes.
I'm gonna solve this. And so the construct now works where, okay, here's the prize. Who's taking this prize home? And you've got 25 teams. Are the 25 teams all over the world?
They're from 17 countries. Yeah.
Do you have like video cameras documenting what they're doing? Like, is that a requirement?
So we have very few requirements besides just what the prize rules are. We are going to offer an opportunity for our teams, should they so wish. We would love to hear their stories, get them documenting what they're doing. One of the things we're offering is a People's Choice Award at the end. So a year from now, people will vote on who their favorite team is. So we'll definitely let you and your listeners know how they can vote. And part of what we want to do there is get people to tell their own stories. Some of them already are doing that. So can we amplify their story? Those who are brand new, some people are starting their company for the first time. They have a brand new idea. They don't know if it's going to work. And we want to make an environment where failure is okay. Failure is a necessary part, I would say, of living, but certainly for innovation, you have to be able to try and fail. So yes, dangling the money at the end, absolutely. Like, who doesn't want to win $1 million? That is an exciting thing. And we have $2 million of prizes throughout this. But we're also providing a connection they get free mentoring, webinars, they meet people, we're putting them in front of investors, they do pitching practice, learning about how you pitch differently to different types of investors, online courses, lots of different things, so that we don't want it to just be a competition. If people want more, we are there to help them. We also don't want to hinder them. So that's why when I say it's not a requirement, if somebody wants to get this seed funding and ignore us for a year, except for just showing us the data from what's happening in the field, they can go do that. They want to go get other investors and making millions. We will applaud them and, shine a light on what they're doing. They don't have to do any of that. It's just showing if they can meet the rules of the competition. But for those who say we really want support throughout, we also want to be able to provide something so that whether they win the $1 million at the end or not, they have had this experience, that they have something to take away from it, that they have gained network skills, data collection, storytelling, marketing, all those things that you need to be able to succeed in business.
So you've been doing this now for, I think, 18 months. You just had your half birthday, by the way, I believe, over there. Happy half birthday. My 6.5-year-old daughter reminds me when it's her half birthday, by the way, in Birmingham. Yeah. So how many of these prizes have you, is this the first one for Milken?
Yeah, this is the first one for Milken. I've been doing prize work for 8 years, I think it is now, something like that. So yeah, I mean, there's been a lot. The ones I've worked on directly are around human equity or human access, sort of human-centered prizes. But I have worked closely with people and seen the power of all sorts of fascinating engineering prizes. I mean, there's biomedical, lots of stuff. I guess you could argue, I actually am hearing some of my friends and colleagues in my head right now being like, it's all human-centered, because ultimately, humans are part of the planet. So, but yeah, things like space travel or underwater robotics or remote medical, there's tons of things out there. What's exciting about prize work, the thing that's the sort of thread throughout all of it, is when you do a prize competition. And I just actually want to pause a moment here, because the number one question I get is the difference between a prize and a grant, which are both amazing things. And in my mind are really important tools in philanthropy and impact, that people need different ways to be supported, and depends on where they are and what they need. But so some prizes are a reward for what somebody has done, an achievement award, Nobel Prize being a really most famous example of that. A prize competition, which is the style that XPRIZE does, is really saying we want to start a new market. It's about going to where there's kind of a stuck problem that needs more capital and innovation. So there's lots of problems that already are being solved. So it's saying, what is something that needs to be unstuck, and that we can set a prize right here, get a bunch of people focused on it, measure and say, does this work? And then have some sort of breakthrough. So it's a different, I always think of this, a lever or something like that. Like, what do you pull to put something through this machine to get and the outcome you want? So there's different ways to design a prize. There's sometimes grants, et cetera. So the thread with all of these different topics where you say, okay, well, you're going between space and ocean and health and education and agriculture is really about saying, how do we find voices that are trying something new and giving an opportunity to test it out? So a lot of these are companies that may not get outside investment yet because they still need that proof of concept. So it's creating a field test. It's measuring and saying, what are the people who are going to need either invest in this product or use the product? What do they need to see? What do they need to know that this technology can do before they invest in it? And the final point here is the idea of democratizing who a solver is. So often when there's a problem, people go to who is perceived to be an expert. And what we have seen in literally hundreds of years of these prize competitions going on. So they may have gained more notoriety in the last, 15, 20 years, but this has been going on for hundreds of years. And it's often these non-traditional solvers, somebody who you wouldn't go to and say, hey, I'm going to give you $10 million to solve this problem. But they had a creative way to think about it. They applied something else, and they are outperforming people that we think would solve the problem. And that we see over and over. And that's one of the really exciting things about prize competitions.
Well, it's a fascinating space. And I'm like, oh, why didn't I think of that question? What's the difference between a grant and a prize? It makes a lot of sense. And, you had talked about space. You talked about the ocean. I mean, there's all sorts of places that prizes can play. I guess I got to ask, one of the earlier prizes you worked on was with Elon Musk, right? Was that correct? Mm-hmm. What was that? Give me like a little color on what's that guy really like, and what was the prize, if you don't mind me asking?
Sure. That was the Global Learning XPRIZE. That's what I mentioned briefly where I said I did work in Tanzania. So Elon Musk funded the $15 million prize purse for that. He's originally from South Africa. I don't know if people know that or not. And really cared about educational access and really seeing economic inequality up close. So the idea here was, can children who may not have access to schooling still somehow learn? Can we use technology to reach children, the more than 250 million? This is way before pandemic time, saying, when there is no school, how do kids keep learning? The interesting thing is this project wrapped before the pandemic. And the amount of time for a number of years that I spent talking to people about kids being out of school, and they're like, but why are the children not in school? Particularly people living in communities where there is schooling that is available for people. But children who are just miles and many, many kilometers from school, or it's not safe to go to school, or in the middle of civil conflict, or they're displaced, or lots of different reasons why kids aren't in school. How can they still learn? And how important it is to have those basic literacy and numeracy skills. Otherwise, you're tracked from the very beginning in a way that you're not going to be able to access all that incredible things that are available now. You said earlier, the access we have is incredible. But if you can't read, if you can't do basic math, and now I would say also, if you don't have access to digital literacy, it's going to be very difficult to engage and compete in the marketplace moving forward and really build businesses and engage in the economy.
All right, 15 years from now, let's just humor me. So 15 years from now, what have you accomplished in all this? Like, give me like wow, that would be amazing. And I know it's hard because you're in it now.
Yeah. What I would love to see, so 15 years from now, I think it would be able to just point to amazing things that people have created that have brought good into the world, thoughtful people and creations that are inclusive, that they went and they did it, and that we played some small part in that. honestly, I think to be able to feel like, hopefully people won't even know. They don't have to know this person won this prize or participated in this, but that it's kind of actually goes back to teaching in this way, that you don't know what's going to happen to that child or adult that you're teaching. But there's a satisfaction from being an educator where you feel like if I can, open minds and people's confidence and their access to things, then they can go and fly. I think, I don't know, I'm not there yet, but I think when you in life, being able to look back and say, I helped open doors and I helped people live up to their potential, feel fulfilled and have some positive impact. I can't really imagine what's more powerful than that. That's a life well lived, I think.
I would agree. Where are you living? Are you back in LA? Are you in? I had to bring it back. I mean, where are you living? 15 years.
Listen, you talked about your kids. I'll say the other piece of this. I'm a mom. I have a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old as well, son and a daughter. And, the other piece of this, when I talk to my kids, they have a very vague idea about what I do, which I think is also fair to say about most adults in my life as well. But what I say to them is what's most important is curiosity and kindness, really. So this is the other thing about a life well lived, which I hope I'm still learning. And maybe even 2 years from now, I'll listen to this again and be like, oh, what was I saying? Why did I think I knew anything? But, there's the professional side, like what are you putting out into the world? And then there's the personal side. How do people around you also feel joyful for the most part and feel seen and feel, there's something about that. I think, to me, the professional and the personal, like how I'm with my kids and my friends, my family, and what I try to put into my professional life is a similar thing, really about connection and finding some joy and having people just go out and create. We have this amazing, glorious life for a very short amount of time. And there is a lot of need out there. There is a lot of inequality. So it feels like if we can push towards the good and solving and connecting and empathy and courage, since I'm on this, and that's the best you can do. It's this sort of, it doesn't really matter the specific job. It doesn't really matter like the things you check off and say, I accomplished this, that, and the other thing. It's a much more, spiritual, emotional way of being in the world. See, this is why I should be in California.
Come on back.
That was the most Southern California thing I've said in a year and a half. You bring it out.
It. Hey, I'm all for it. How do you describe what you do to your 6-year-old when they ask, what does mommy do?
Yeah. So my 6-year-old, I'm trying to think what he would say, but I have said, I help people who are trying to create new things to help the world. I help them get started.
That's pretty solid right there.
Wow.
That's pretty solid. Where do you think the philanthropic gene came for you? Why you? Where did it? Was someone in your family trying to make the world better? Are we all inherently born good and maybe along the way? I know. I have to go there. Stuff happens. Where do you think it comes from?
So, yes, I believe people are born good with the capacity for good, I should say. I think people are born with the capacity for creativity, connection. I think that's how we're wired, really. And yes, things happen along the way. On a personal note, for sure. I mean, it's funny with philanthropy, obviously that is a field of there's a lot to say about philanthropy, and we can go more specifically into that. But when you said sort of what's the gene there, for sure, my family, as far back as I can remember, talking to my grandparents, my parents, are people who want to say, how are we actively engaged in this world, and that the actions you take, the way you treat people, what you do with your time matters. And that there are inequalities in the world, and that can put you into a place of feeling overwhelmed by injustice, because there is a lot of that, overwhelmed by suffering, because there is a lot of that. So you can either kind of get just paralyzed into inaction if you're lucky enough not to be, in the midst of some sort of crisis, or you can say, if I have the good fortune to be able to try to alleviate some bit of that. And that can be lots of things. That can be through teaching. That can be through service. That can be in your community. That can be globally. I mean, there's so many. It was never like you have to do it in this one particular way. It's an overall, like, when you wake up in the morning, how are you engaging with the people around you? And this, whatever time and energy you have, how are you putting it forward into the world?
I think it's a great way to wake up every morning, by the way. The fact that you get to do that at the Milken Institute or Milken Institute or Institute. We'll have them tell us what we need to call it moving forward. I can see why you would move 3,000 miles away to continue to do what you're passionate about. And awesome role model, amazing speaker. I'm really glad we could find 45 this morning. And please stay in touch with me. Like, let's just keep jamming. It's always an easy conversation with you.
Ryan, I love talking to you, and you bring so much light and inspiration to people wherever you go. Every time I listen to you talking to people, read things you've written, been live in events with you back when that used to happen, I feel inspired and I see how you light up people around you. So I'm just honored to be able to be here with you and what the work that you're doing to bring out people's courageous selves. It is beautiful. So thank you so much for taking this time with me.
Oh, well, my initial response is stop. Just stop. This is we're talking about you and your cape, okay? But I need to be better at receiving, right? That's part of this too. Like, I appreciate that. I really do. I think it's unfair that I get to talk to really smart people like you and ask questions like this and try to figure out how you do what you do. And maybe that's a good place to close. So anyone that's like, I always think of like, okay, you're still here. We're still in someone's ear. Someone's actually still listening 45 minutes in and they're walking on their walk or they're doing what they're doing. They're in their car. What can they do? Like give them a little snippet of what they can do.
So it depends on who you are and what you have to give and what you can do. If you're somebody who has excess, capital and resources and you're trying to figure out what to do with it, we help guide people and say, here's ways that you can use capital to help support people and maximize your impact. So we work directly with philanthropists, foundations, corporate philanthropy, all of that. We help landscape what you can do with it. If you are a solver or somebody who has big ideas, you can join us. You can go to Milken-Motsepe You can go to Milken Institute prizes, look up our prize program where we have things that are launching that people can do all the time. So join us. We want to hear from you. We will be continuing to launch things. If you're somebody who can open doors for entrepreneurs, if you're an investor, let us know, because we've got lots of people with amazing projects that we can connect to. So yeah, it depends on who you are, but you can find me on at the Milken Institute. You can find me all over the internet on LinkedIn. So yeah, reach out.
You just can't find you at themilkeninstitute.com, which is clear as day now.
Milkeninstitute.org. Milken Institute.org.
I am really running out right now and buying themilkeninstitute.org. I'm going to sell it back to you guys. There'll be a prize on who can buy the URL themilkeninstitute.org. It's a huge day. We'll give it to charity, but we're going to do that. Are you in?
Perfect. We'll help you direct which charity that's going to be.
Okay, perfect. All right, Emily. Take care. Great to see you.
Thanks, Ryan. You too. Bye.